Awesome. Welcome back, everyone, to another session of VSA. Uh, quickly just put in the chat in the WhatsApp group so that people can know that we are live. We have started. Send it to your group, team execution, team clarity. The group leader should be held accountable for each of the group. I haven't even seen Stephanie for some time now. I wonder what's going on. I sent her a message and she didn't respond. Who is in team? Is there anyone here in Team Clarity? Anyone from Team Clarity? Can you all hear me? Is there anyone on this call that is in Team Clarity? So everyone on the call is from Team Execution? Okay. Okay, let's get started today. We have a lot to do today, and I'm really excited about today because we are moving from theory to practical, and that is amazing for me. But how has it been? How's the week? Let's get started. How's the week been for everyone so far? How's the week been for you all so far? You can unmute your mic and speak. How's the week been for you all? Anyone wants to share? Anyone wants to share? No one wants to share. What's going on? Deborah, how's the week for you? Justina, Onye, Adiola, Dorcas, what's going on? No one wants to talk. How's the week been so far so we can get started?
Sorry, I'm trying to connect on my device, so it's not working. So that's why. Sorry.
I rebooked that device that does not want to work. Okay, who's going to go next? While Diola is working on her device. Deborah, how was your week?
Week has been good. Thank you so much.
I need more
That
than the week has been good. I need details. What did you do differently this week? What challenge did you put yourself up?
so I tried connecting to founders because of course I
Mhm,
have to connect first before I can involve in the conversations. So I tried
mhm.
connecting with founders, and then there's this particular founder that we actually got talking. We were kind of building a very cozy relationship, but
That's
it
good.
didn't get to the point where we start offering services to each other. We're just talking based
Okay.
on learning what we can learn from each other and all of that. But we've
Okay.
not got professional part. And
So
I think that was the
you
only
need to
one that
fast
I made
track.
progress with. Sorry?
The best way for you to, actually, you need to fast track. The best way for you to get to the professional part is for you to start talking about what you do passionately without selling. So I know we're going to talk more around consultative selling probably next week. We're doing a little around it
Okay.
today too, but probably next week. And you do consultative selling by providing insight, providing value. That's one of the things that I've been teaching you all. It's part of the principles of consultative selling. You are more interested in, oh, you're more interested in their business. You're interested in what problem they have, and you're seeing ways that you can solve it without selling the solution to them. So you're showing them the what, you're showing them the why, without telling them the how you actually solve it. So that's consultative selling. And the best way you can do it is I like the conversations. I like the conversations that you're currently having, right? But then you take bye. But then you have to get to the point whereby you show passion about what you're currently doing or what you're currently learning, like, oh, I'm currently learning all this and I'm looking out for opportunities where I can practice, where I can put this into practice, and this is the system that I'm using, this is the processes I'm using. They're not showing them the how, we're only showing we're only talking about the outcome that then drives this outcome. I've done this with simulated case studies, but I'm really looking forward to doing this more with a real business challenge. And you can see where that conversation actually drives you, rather than just having conversations about, oh, I have three children and my children is this, or I'm doing my master's, or I just relocated to the United States. Bullshit. I don't care about that. Okay, no bullshit. You too, forgive me. BS. I don't care about that. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's the way you can move it from personal to professional.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma.
Well, good job on having the conversation. It's a huge step for you, and I'm really excited about that.
Thank you, ma.
Okay, I would like to hear from Dorcas. Dorcas, you're a person of interest to me, so I'd like to hear from you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, I didn't hear what you have been discussing. I just joined. I'm now sitting down, settling out to.
Okay, so the question is, how was the week for you? What are the challenges? What are the challenges you faced this week? And what are the challenges you gave yourself to do this week? Or what did you challenge yourself with this week?
Well, my challenges were actually about my LinkedIn account, and I was able to overcome it. Even though I didn't use my own account, I had to use the company account I work with. So I've been able
Okay.
to achieve with the connect. I've been able to, build up the profile in a little way.
Okay.
So that's one of the things I need. The account, the LinkedIn account is one of things I've been doing. I worked on this week actually.
Okay. So I know you probably would need to manage the company account at this point, but I need you to have your own personal account. It's very important. You need your personal account because as much as I am teaching you to work with businesses and founders and organizations, at the same time, simultaneously, you also need to start building your personal brand because it gives you leverage. I won't say more than that. So it gives you leverage. So I need you to have that leverage while also developing or expanding the leverage of what you've learned into the organizations that is sponsoring for this event. So your boss is my friend, yeah, she's my client, but nevertheless, uh, you need to take all these principles to be able to apply to yourself because that's when you can compound on the leverage. So now please work on your LinkedIn profile. If you need to create
All
a
right,
new
ma'am.
one, create it, right? You also need to work on the groom, your organization profile. And one thing I was going to say, I think you sent me, someone sent me a connection request. You should not be creating the organization profile with an individual profile. It should be a company account. So I don't know if it was you or it was someone else from the organization that did that. I was going to send a message to the CEO to emphasize, but I just said, let me calm down in case it was you. So let's try to create a company page for your organization because it's an organization, and a personal or individual page for individuals, for yourself. And your home is one of my priority because that's then you can compound on the leverage. So personal brand is important, employer brand is important. One thing I do teach people on employer branding, but you see that I don't talk about employer branding because I'm dealing more with the personal so that you can then take that skill set and apply it in organizations. So that's one thing. I'm glad that you're able to find a way around it, but you still need to create your own LinkedIn profile because after you spend 5 years, you spend 10 years in your current organization, there are times you might decide to leave. So that way you can still retain that which is yours. Your skill set is yours, your expertise is yours. You can apply it across board, but organization asset is not yours. And that includes social media. Okay, let me see. Paul, I saw Paul came in. Matthew, because we have to Paul on the call. So Matthew, Paul, what was your challenge this week? And what did you challenge yourself with?
Good evening, Ma. Yes, I'm at work and I might not be able to speak very well now.
Put it in the chat. If you
Okay,
can
Ma.
speak, put it in the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Adiola, have you set up your computer? Have you finished your setup? So I'll take Adiola and I'll take Justina, then we'll go into today's class. If Adiola is not ready, Justina, you can go. Justina. Okay. I would, we have a lot to do today, so I'll just move forward. When they come, they can put in the chats what their challenges are this week and what did they challenge themselves, because I'm very much interested in that. And it's okay for you to also send messages to your personal groups. Either it's be team execution or team clarity, and tell them that we are live on this call. I don't know why some others are not joining. I don't know what to say to that because I'm not even, we've passed the stage of refund, but it is well. Okay, so today we are talking more about sales workflow execution, which
Sorry,
would
ma.
look more into, oh, Christina is back. Justina, if it's
Yes,
okay
ma.
for you to put
Sorry,
in the
ma.
chat, yes, it's okay. Just put in the chat what your challenges were
Okay.
this week and what did you challenge yourself with this week? I need to really go into the lecture today because we have a lot. We spent almost 15 minutes on that. Okay, so today we're talking more about sales workflow execution, reporting, and founder activities, founder support. So we're going to be looking more into how we can move from activities to outcome. If you've noticed from the beginning of this course, of the VSA cohort, some of the things that I have been emphasizing on is on business outcomes and not activities, not tasks, but business outcomes and business impact. So we move from tasks to activities to outcomes to impact. So today we'll be looking more into the step 2 and step 3 of that ladder, which is activities to outcome. We've reviewed tasks. We've reviewed all the tasks that are involved in building a VSA. We've uh, done a lot more around lead research. We've done a lot more around CRM. We've done a lot more around lead qualifications and the rest of things. But today now we'll be looking into the entire sales ecosystem as a workflow and how you can execute it. We'll look into how you can begin to spot where things are beginning to stale where there might be leakage. I know we've talked about that little. Then we'll also look more into tracking and reporting. In the PDL that we had last week, it was an amazing one because it really solved a lot of the problems that has to do with visibility and communication. So if you were not on that call, you probably need to go into our YouTube page to go check and listen to that because it's going to give you insight. The very first 30 to 40 minutes of that call was more around you being an execution partner and the execution layer that has to be. So for those, I know majority of you were on that call, but if you were not on that call, you missed that call, then you need to go back to that. And please don't forget to subscribe. I've said I'll start saying, don't forget to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, you are wrong. And you're not following me on LinkedIn, you're not following Bavad on LinkedIn or even on Instagram, you're wrong at this point. I will try my best to send a link maybe on the chat one of those days so that you don't have to search for too long. Okay, so we'll then look into final reports and how you can apply these skills with a real business insights. So I mentioned this on the call on Wednesday that we do have a real business challenge that we all are going to work on it because there is huge potential, not just for you to see how businesses really operate out of theory, so now practically, but this is also an opportunity for you to get fully engaged with the business based on the success metrics. So let's fully get started. We're going to do a quick poll, and I'd like to hear from you all. This is not going to be a poll where you just slept. This is the poll that I really want to hear from everyone. So now, and please feel free to unmute your mic. The poll is just one poll, right? Wait, I thought I saw only Emilia. Where did she run to? Okay. What do you think cause more opportunities to be lost in any organization? So I want you all to, not just in the chat, I want you all to share and what you think is the causes. I don't want to hear all of the above. I want just one answer, and I want you to tell me why you think that might be the biggest cause why opportunities are lost in an organization. So the floor is open for conversation. Why do you think opportunities are lost? Or what do you think causes more opportunities to be lost in our organization? Who's going first? Feel free to raise your hands, your virtual hands up, since you all like to stay off camera. Look at you. It's good to see faces. Deborah, go on. Yeah, I love to
For
see
me,
faces. I don't know why you all
I would
don't
say,
want me
I
to
mean,
see your beautiful
I know I'm not,
face and handsome
sorry.
face.
I
Okay,
know I'm not
Deborah.
absolutely correct, but I would say poor products because even if you have good leads, you have good follow up, and you have good visibility, but if you are not offering good products, it's not going to be sustainable.
So you're saying product,
Yes, you have
good
to have
products,
something that
right?
can sell.
Okay.
Yes, first of all.
Okay. I'll write that down. Products. So we have products. Okay. Let me even use my annotation. I have annotation. Okay. Yes. Diola, I saw your hands up. Diola, I saw your
No,
hands
I
up.
didn't do that. Sorry, I didn't do
Oh,
that. I
really?
didn't
Okay.
dance. I didn't do that.
Okay.
Sorry.
So everyone is going to talk anyways. So it's either you want to talk now or later. Who is going next?
Let me go next.
Okay.
I think I thought you are saying pick one. I'm saying two that
It's only one
important.
now.
Okay.
Okay. It's only one. Today is only one.
Okay. I'll also say poor products.
Products.
Yes,
Okay.
because it's one thing to get a lead and do a follow-up. When you follow up, you don't have what to offer, or your product does not really add value. It doesn't make sense. You definitely
Okay.
lose that opportunity because the person is not really going to get value for whatever he or she wants to subscribe to. So it
Okay.
will make them to opt out. So I feel that poor product is a mitigation point for you to always lose opportunities.
Okay. Who's going next?
I'm coming in, ma. To
Okay.
me, I think I would take lack of follow-up. I'll go for
Okay.
lack of follow-up because for you to have good leads, you have your product, you are visible. If you don't follow up enough
Mm-hmm.
to know your customers, to know who your clients are, you might lose opportunities. Follow up, you keep that follow up, even say more about your products. By following up, you know what your clients want, what they don't want, when they want it and when they don't want it. At least you keep interacting with them. So to me, I think what can make opportunities to be lost or you to lose your opportunities, this lack of follow-up.
Okay. Okay. Who has this spoken? Viola, when are you speaking? You're on mute though.
I said I'm going to speak very soon. I'm so sorry. Like, I just have to put this thing together. I'm so sorry.
Okay. I know Rosemary just joined us. Matthew, can you speak? Or you want to put in the chat? Okay. There's no time to waste time.
Okay,
So,
so
okay.
so the question is, what causes more opportunity to be lost?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think it's lack of follow because most businesses actually they could actually make encouragement to reach out to the person they want to reach out to. But when they feel like the deal is done and sometimes follow up is what is next because sometimes your partner or your business partner or anything could actually forget that they have to incorporate some kind of things into what they need to do. So I feel it's follow up.
Okay. So we have a tie. We have 2-2. So I'm going to say that the major causes of what make opportunities to be lost is definitely not A. It's not enough leads. It's not because when we're talking about opportunities, we're definitely talking about leads. So it's not that. Lack of visibility. D. Lack of visibility could also be a contributory factor if the organization is not doing, they don't have marketing efforts, they don't put themselves out there. So it's not going to attract opportunity, but that doesn't make more opportunities to be lost. So because when I say more opportunities being lost, it means the opportunity is already in the pipeline. Don't worry, my phone is going to go off soon. No, no. It's going to go. Once you knock on the door. So definitely we are. Who's the living room? Who's the living room? Yes. But Benny, man, now. I think. Bye bye. Oh, it's not this. So definitely is not A, it's not D. So we are left with B and C. So now, which is going to be the major cause between B and C? I'll start with poor product. There are many organizations that they don't have good products, but yet they're doing amazing well. Do you all know that? I think there was one of these Google product that was called like Google Glass at that time. It wasn't successful. Even Blueberry, the BlackBerry, what's that phone called? It wasn't successful. Nokia failed too at a point, not because the product was at least bad, but they were not updating it. So what I'm trying to say is that there are many, or there was this, or there was this organization that I can't remember. I think I watched it on Shark Tank. Okay, let me just leave that. But the product was definitely bad. So I would say that the biggest thing that would make opportunities or more opportunities to be lost is definitely lack of follow-up, because you could have a bad product and still sell amazing. You could have a bad product and okay, Matthew said lack of visibility, poor product. You can have a poor product or have very good marketing strategy. People sell trash. Let me use that word. And they sell it and they sell. Okay, there's this is something I saw recently. They were selling a can. And the can is a t-shirt. They're like, what the heck? Why would I buy a t-shirt in the can? But it sells. It's really going viral. So sometimes it's not about the products. It's just all about follow. It's about follow. It doesn't matter how amazing. It doesn't matter how good your product might be. It doesn't matter what your marketing strategy might be, even if the marketing is attracting a lot of leads. If you don't have a good follow-up system, that product or that company will still fail. So follow-up is what brings about the conversion of that attraction or that amazing product and turn it into a revenue generating machine, cash flow. So the answer is lack of follow-up. But that doesn't mean that every other thing is wrong, okay? Because every other thing on this slide are reasons opportunities we lost. But the biggest thing would be C for you. Visibility is a big one too. Yes, Adela.
Yes, like I just wanted to add to what you say, sorry, ma. So yes, everybody's actually right because each business for its own. Each business has its own problem, you understand. Some it could be lack of follow-up, then some not enough leads. Some people, the product is not actually poor, but the way they carry it, it is looking pure. There is no product that comes as pure. It's just the way you package it. It's just like saying you want to sell a pen. Let's just put that pen now is just there, and you just like it has just a nice packaging. But you know, there is a way you could actually revamp it that looks like not just a pen. It could actually be something that you decorate to something like maybe it has a hand fan on top of it that they can use to write and do hand fan. So it's just the way you package the product. Most products actually, there are some like those China products I used to see, some of them they don't work. But it's the way they put it to you. They'll be like, oh, this thing is nice. I actually need it. When you put it inside, just decoration. And for the lack of visibility, most business struggle with lack of visibility too. But then it doesn't mean that they don't sell. I know some products that if you want to look for them, they are not visible anywhere. But if you see the way people are looking for them, you can go to a mini mart and just buy that one product, and you just feel like that person doesn't have a lot of, but it sells fast whenever it's on the rack. So I feel every business has its own. That's just it for me.
Yeah. So how could that also visibility is also a very big factor, but I wanted us to focus more on what we have in the pipeline, not what is being attracted. Visibility is the big one because without visibility, visibility leads to not enough lead. So lack of visibility leads to not enough lead. And not enough lead is definitely a big cost too. But visibility, every organization needs to work on that. That is where personal brand comes in. That's where marketing strategy comes in. You understand that how you can move from your top funnel to the middle funnel to the bottom of the funnel. These are marketing strategies. I can start going into marketing and start saying, okay, I can teach you guys marketing, teach you on how to move your clients across those funnels. But that's our strategist class. So actually, you guys should start putting yourself in a wait list for strategist class in September. because then you need to learn how to move across those ladder to be able to create the necessary attraction needed in the market. You need to understand the UVP, that's unique value proposition of the organization, to be able to then design what that workflow is going to be. But today we are focusing on sales workflow. So let's not get distracted from sales. Let me clear all this. Okay, give me a minute. So my internet went off. Awesome. Okay, so back to class. Thank you for your patience. So you don't understand what I'm trying to say is that, what was I? What was I? Why, I think we're done with this though, but why everything could be contributory factor? Why everything could be contributory factor? It could also, correct me. They could lead to one another. So it could be a cause and effect process. So now let me take away my head and change this to content only so that it does not affect. You can see. Okay, good. So then let me go to the next slide. So now we're focusing more on the sales workflow. So that's what I'm going to focus on. So now this slide says that a reality most founder face. So now we're also going to do another quick one. But before we do this quick, I'll just run this through. So we've all gone through all these things, we've gone through all these processes. But is there anyone that would say that I still don't understand any of these buckets that you can see on this list? Is there anyone on the call that will say, oh, I still need clarity? Is it on research and qualification? Is it on outreach and follow-up? Is it on scheduling meetings, tracking opportunities, managing proposals, or nurturing clients? Is there anyone that needs clarity on any of this? And the reason I'm asking is because at the end of this class, we have a real work to do. So I need to ensure that we are all on the same page before we proceed. Is there anyone that needs clarity on this? Or that has a question on it? Feel free to use your microphone or virtual hand or chat. Anyone? So I will take this that we all have a very good working knowledge on how to walk across this 6 buckets. If that's true, put in the chat, yes. So you know how to research leads, you know how to qualify leads, you know how to send outreaches, how to follow up. Has everyone created a Calendly link? I see yes, I see no, and I'm confused. Is the yes for Calendly link, or is the no for Calendly link, or is the yes for you all understand this concept? They're like the one that said no, so let me know.
Yeah, it's a no for me because for outreach and follow-up, yeah, for scheduling meetings, yeah, for nature clients and manage proposals and tracking opportunities. I think not that I do not know, but I need to learn more about that.
Okay. Rosemary.
Oh, yes, so clarity on managing proposals and also research and qualify. But I think I'm good with the rest of the 4.
Okay, so you're good with research and qualify, with outreach and follow-up. You need help with what? Your words were cutting out, so I didn't catch some of them.
Okay, research and qualify. And
Research and
also,
qualify.
yes, and managing proposal. Just explanation on that, so I can catch up. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Deborah, Oluchi's on the call, if I'm not mistaken. Dorcas is posting on the call. Okay, let me, Dorcas, what is there? Do you have clarity on everything? Okay, yes, it's for Calendly link. Okay. Oluchi, let me hear from you. Justina, help with research and tracking opportunities. Okay. Justina
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Dorcas, is there anything you need help with on this bucket?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to learn more about how to manage proposals
Okay.
and nurture clients. I think that's
Okay. Okay. Okay, awesome. Research and qualification and okay, good. Okay, so research and qualification was our number 1 and number 2 class. So for all those that need that, I would need to refer you to number 1 and number 2 class. I will also need to refer you to the resource center because we have 2 videos there that talk specifically on research, lead research and qualification processes. And the research and qualification processes where we talked about our ICP, how you can find organizations, where you can find organizations, how you can find decision makers. I didn't hear from Deborah. Deborah, where is your answer?
I'm sorry, ma. Like you're already saying, from our classes so far, I think I should
Mm-hmm.
have good knowledge of research and qualify, outreach and
Mm-hmm.
follow up. I mean, using LinkedIn, I should be able to do that
Mm-hmm.
really well. Then schedule meetings, I should be able to do that with Calendly. Track
Yes.
opportunities, I should be able to do that with based on the assignment you give. I think it was a week 2 assignment using the tracker and all of that. I should be able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
track opportunities with that. Then manage
Mm-hmm.
proposal. I think that will depend on what the proposal is, what the proposal needs, and I don't think it should be hard. I don't know. I still
Mm-hmm.
need help, but I don't think it should be hard. And then nurture
Okay.
clients, and then I mean it depends on what the client needs to, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Sometimes it's just the word, the vocabulary that is different. So sometimes it's like, oh, I've done it before, but I know I've taught you all. So I'm going to refresh everyone's knowledge. So research and qualification, yes, it was our week 1 class, just like the very mentioned and I've mentioned earlier. So if you really need help with that, I'll say go back to that class. But research and qualification, it's more about how you can research clients. You can look for the organization based on the ICP, individual customer profile of that organization offer that you are working with. That was your week 1 assignment, and everyone did it. So I won't spend much time on that. Outreach and follow up 2 was your week 2 and week 3. And in outreaches, that is when you're sending messages, you're sending your connection requests. You all had, I know that Rosemary was out. I'm glad you're feeling better now, but I also want to go back to those classes. And I just send summaries sometimes at the end of the class. At the end of the class, so maybe you also want to go back to some of my messages. So the same thing for outreach and follow-up. For 3, it's calendar meeting. We also had this in with 2, where we talked about calendar management, we talked about tax management, and I also specifically told you all to go create a calendar link. So that way you can use it to schedule meetings for your own conversations. For clients' conversations, the clients will tell you the link that they would be using for their calendar. So they will give you the link to the calendar. So that's very easy for you to figure out. In as much you use Google Calendar, you know how to send messages, we'd like to schedule a meeting with you. And if you need support with that, there's no problem. A 30 minutes call. In fact, a 10 minutes call will fix it. Tracking opportunities. Tracking opportunities is through CRM, which you can create yourself or use a tool, a software. And we've talked more about that. So you can definitely track opportunities with that. So for those who mentioned track opportunities, this is more talking about you listing down those opportunities, documenting the opportunities, and ensuring that you're reviewing and monitoring them. So that's the tracking process. The reporting process it was dealt with in our PDL class, where the project management expert was telling you more about how you can communicate your findings. That's a part of communication and reporting. So now, where I was really expecting everyone to talk more about was the managing proposal and the nurturing client, not because I haven't taught you, but because the terminologies I used might be a little bit different. So managing proposals is the stage 4 or 5 of our lead process, of our sales cycle. So it could be 4, it could be 5, depending on how you structure it. But managing proposal is when a proposal is being sent. Sometimes you might not be the one to work on the proposal. Sometimes you might be fortunate enough to work on the proposal. And the reason I said fortunate enough means that you've demonstrated expertise that the client can trust you enough to now start developing you or moving you towards being a closer. But most times they could have a team if you're supporting teams. Most times the clients themselves might need to develop their proposal by themselves. So now managing that proposal is talking more towards the client as we've spoken to the client, right? You've researched the client, you've qualified the client, the prospect, you've researched the prospect, you've qualified the prospect, you've outreached, you've done everything. You've now scheduled appointment. That reminds me, see this scheduling meeting is you probably would have seen a lot of terminologies about appointment setters. Have you? Has anyone heard of appointment setters? Please put in the chat if you've heard of appointment setters. Appointment setters, putting in the chat. If you've heard of appointment setters, put in the chat. Yes, good. So appointment setters, what they do is that they do stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, good, is they do the research, they do the qualification, they send the messages, then they schedule the meeting. That is where they stop. This is where appointment setting work stops. So you can see, and also you all probably know about VA, virtual assistant. Virtual assistant, they help manage calendars, they help manage tasks, they organize things, they coordinate things. So they probably may not do research, they may not do follow-up, but they'll do a lot around 3 and 4, which is they manage calendars, they'll possibly schedule meetings. So if you're a virtual assistant, you know what I'm saying. Maybe you do a lot about tracking opportunities, but the tracking opportunities will be more of tracking meetings, tracking conversations, maybe not opportunities that might, as big as or as huge as we have been talking about, depending on what the client gives you access to. So now you as a VSA, you can see that your role is a little bit broader because you've been trained to be a revenue operations professional. So the VSA is just our internal word. The revenue operation is the industry terminology. So you all have been trained to be a revenue operations or it's an emerging industry, it's an emerging role that every industry is beginning to see the necessity of it, not just sales, not just marketing, but they do need a rev ops. So now you've been trained to be a rev op is why your role is a little bit broad because you need to know how to do research, you need to know how to do qualification, you know how to do the outreaches, the follow-up is the biggest bucket. If anybody has what's the biggest thing that it's the follow-up, because they could have a sales team, they could have a sales an SDR, a BDR, but most of them they do fail at that following up process. So now coming back to this bucket. So now you've been trained on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actually. So now number 5, which is managing proposal, coming back to number 5, is then when the client or the founder or the organization, depending on the structure and the operational system, they've created the proposal, they've probably sent the proposal, you have to document it in the CRM. That is where your tracking opportunities come in. That is where your reporting coming. You document it in the CRM that you are using, that a proposal has been sent, and you monitor it. When was it sent? Has a response been given? What was the response? Who is the owner of this proposal? Who is monitoring this proposal? That is where the management or proposal management really comes in. Is that clear? I need responses. For those who are mentioning proposal, is that clear? Good. So those are the ways. So it's like you want to be, you be on the neck of the owner, you be an accountability partner for that. That is why you have been trained to be an execution partner. So you be an accountability partner for the proposal. Oh, has the proposal been sent? Has the proposal been received? When was it reviewed? Has a response been given? What was the response? Has it been closed? So that's the way you manage the proposal. And that brings us to the last bucket, which is nurturing clients. So nurturing clients is like the entire process of what you've been doing. So there are 2 ways of nurturing clients. In the last class we had, or in the PDL class we had, which is why for those who are joining PDL, you don't know what God is doing for you. God is doing wonders in your life. You just shout hallelujah. But for those who are in the nurturing client, you see that we did an exercise when you were analyzing, either it was the PDL or the last class, I can't really remember. But when you were analyzing team clarity and team execution, so those who were in team execution were analyzing a lead process with a skincare company, if you all remember. And one of the things, I think it was Matthew, one of the things that is said why they were bucketing, yes, Jella can remember now. Why you were bucketing it is you have some leads that might be one, good, this is one, but you didn't have some that might be lost. You have some that may not be ready to buy yet, but they may buy in the future. So people might tell you, I'll get back to you in the next 6 months. And it might tell you, I'll think about it. So these are clients that are not ready to buy yet. But you need to nurture that relationship to the point where you can successfully convert them as client, or you close on the account totally. So that is when nurturing clients come in. So you can have a client's relationship that goes smoothly from research to qualification to discovery call to setting up the appointment to closing on the deal, right? Smooth relationship, you still need to continue building on that relationship because you want to ensure that the client has good experiences with the organization and they get the value for their money. So that is nurturing clients. That's not the problem. But the main nurturing process is when you have some clients that you need to hold and make them stuck through the process so we don't lose on that opportunity. That's where the nurturing clients really comes in. So you sending messages to them. That is why I'll probably want to do a bonus class. Oh God, I'm promising you a bonus class. Okay, I'll probably want to do a bonus class that would really focus more on maybe just few marketing strategies that may help you, that you can clear with the sales strategy that we have been talking about. So today we did sales workflow, right? Maybe I'll do the marketing workflow. So you can have the two sides of the coin and work with them respectively. So that's a bonus class. I don't know when, so we'll need to do like a pool to see when is the best time for that. But nurturing clients is you taking up the clients that are, instead of they dropping off in that cycle or becoming a waste, there's a leakage now, a lead waste, you're holding on to it, renewing the relationship, reframing the problem just to ensure that a higher number of them get converted. So that is nurturing clients. Is that clear to everyone now?
Yes, ma. Very
I'm waiting
clear.
for a response.
Yes, it's very clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma.
Awesome. 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 So we can see that the problem has never really been effort. It's not about, oh, I'm not doing this, or I'm doing this, or I'm not doing this enough. It's more really about capacity. And a founder cannot handle this. That is why they need you. So as founder support, you need to understand and be able to articulate. See, it's not about you having this value. It's not about you having this skill set. It's about you being able to articulate the value to others, to those that matters. And that is why, again, I need you all to invest in your personal brand. I think was it not Deborah I was talking to on last Monday? Like, you guys can even go as further, as fast as having the VSA trainee listed on your LinkedIn to show association, because you can do a borrowing of the credibility that we have so that when you're reaching out to clients, they can understand where you are coming from, especially if you are positioning yourself as a founder support and you're saying, oh, I'm currently learning more about this and I would like to see how I can be of value or of help to you. Feel free to do it. Nobody's going to sanction you because you're a trainee. And when you graduate, you can then begin to see ways more about opportunities that are coming in and see ways that we can pair you up to it. Or you need help, you need support, and this is what we can do for you. Because okay, let me just hold it there. Because this is a long-term relationship that I am building, that Bavad is building, that VSA is building, VSA Academy is building with all of our training. Not just you come, we're not a training center, okay? Not just you come and you learn and you go. If anyone has been, I think Justina has been following me very much on LinkedIn, you will notice that I never even talk more about. It's in week 3, it's in either week 4, check week 4 or week 3. I think it should be in week 4. Check week 4. It should be in week 4. So you see that I don't even talk more about, I don't talk about me having a training center because it is never a training center. And the only thing I solve is founder capacity. Either it is through my personal consulting or it is through, okay, or it is through business advisory, whatever it is one thing, founder capacity, and that is what you are being trained, yes, being impacted, being empowered. I think I like that word, being empowered to do. Let me check on Adela's issue because I think you all need access to it. You should be in week 4. Yeah, I have it in week 4. Does this mean that you guys are having issue with accessing all the weeks, all the materials in the weeks? Okay. I'll copy up the link and send to you again, but it says in week 4. My charts. Oh, you've seen it. Okay. Okay, good. So now let's now look into the bigger problem and that most founders used to have. This is things that I've been emphasizing over and over again. So the bigger problem has always been dependencies, and that is the biggest thing itself. That's the biggest thing Provide Group is focused on. So when you all were doing your analysis, I was laughing. But this is the biggest thing. It only shows that we needed to do more work, which I've been working on. But it's founder dependency. So we solve founder dependency. You as a VSA, you solve founder dependency. You as a Rev Ops, you solve founder dependency. You as a founder support, you solve founder dependency. So if anybody is wondering, what actually do you solve? What's the founder dependency? Everything comes down to founder dependency and founder capacity. A founder cannot handle everything. I'm a founder myself. I cannot do it all. I need help. Okay? So it's either I use system processes or use people, depending on it. But what we have been advocating is how you can use people and process and systems and even AI and agentic, right? AI and agentic to solve founder dependency problem. So now we all have learned that almost every organization, especially the founder-led businesses, have this same problem, whereby they can't find out certain things. I need to check on that. Let me think. I think we followed up with them. Let me find that information, which is why some of them go into getting a virtual assistant because they need someone to be able to manage their time for them, or manage their calendar for them, or manage their conversations for them. But what makes you different is you're not just going to manage conversation, you're not going to manage time for them. You can do that and more, right? And the more is you can then become a valuable system in the founder systems that can also help support or lead their revenue generation process. So we would not draw more about that because these are things that we've been talking more about since day one. So you all have clarity. I believe everyone has clarity on the problem that you solve as a VSA. So now let's go more into the sales workflow itself. So from everything that we've talked about, it is clear, like it is glaring, that the sales workflow is a sequence of activities that move towards an outcome, that move towards a business outcome and has a business impact. So now, the business activities or the activities, from researching to qualifying to the outreaches, which is you sending out the messages, to you following up with all the messages and booking out the meetings does not stop there. That is where your activities stop. So now the outcome then becomes the proposals, the meetings, the conversion rate that is being closed then leads to the business outcome. The business impact is the revenue that is generated from that activities and outcome. So that is your sales workflow. So if you're mapping out a workflow, I know we have some data analysts and the rest of things on this call. So if you're mapping out workflows, you're working with that organization, you're mapping out their own workflow, you can be able to sit down to do the flow charts, to do the analysis, to understand their current state and the future or the ideal state. So now, what do I mean by current stage and future? Because I want you all to start thinking like a consultant, okay? I know it's too early for me to start thinking like a consultant, but I'm not training dummies. So I want you all to start thinking like a consultant. And what do I mean by that? A consultant, you're talking with the founder, they're telling you that the problem is, let's say they say their problem is, let me come back to this slide, the founder dependency. I think we follow up, they don't know if they are following up, they don't know how many clients they're following up, they have all their opportunities, their messages messed up in different processes from LinkedIn, in different social medias. They don't have them all integrated into a single space, which is why digital CRM is beautiful, okay? Because it helps you to integrate. I would say some of the tools that I want you all to start thinking about and learning or researching about is Zyper and Make. I'm going to put that in the chat. Or Make. Because I know we'll do more of automations in week 6, right? Week 5 or week 6. But you need to start thinking more about it and start researching on how can you use Zyper or how can you use Make. They do the same thing, they are automation tools to do the same thing, but you can use all this either of these two or any other one that you have used in the past for automations to integrate if you're not using an integrated system. So if you don't have opportunity to use maybe HubSpot, Apollo, all those sophisticated tools, go high level and the rest of things, you're using your normal Google Sheet, you can still integrate certain systems too that would make you have a whole picture of visibility into the different systems and the activities happening across different systems. So just hold that and start thinking about that. So now back to the sales workflow. Now you're like, okay, I have a founder. The founder is probably saying things like, I can't find the information, or I don't have enough leads, or I don't have enough conversations, right? You need to start thinking about what's the current state. What are the current processes? What are you currently doing? What do you have at hand? And then you map that against what is supposed to be the ideal state. Every organization ideal state might be different. We have the standard, right? But sometimes there might be some alterations that is needed based on that organization. So I don't want you all to be rigid. You need to be flexible. But the very first thing is you need to understand what their current state is or are for you to be able to move them to the ideal or to the future state. So now they may say, oh, we only deal with referrers. Oh, we only deal with referrers. So which means they don't probably have a research stage. They don't probably have a strong qualification stage because they deal with referrers, and with referrers, it means Ah, my friend said you're very good. Oh, tell me more about your problem. A very simple qualification, and that's it. Maybe there's no outreach, maybe there's no follow-up. They move straight to closing. Any organization that does only with referrals, it's going to be behind. We all know that it's been proven multiple times. So now, oh, you want to deal with referrals, so which means what referral is the only client acquisition strategy you have in your organization. I see why you have a low revenue or you have low conversations. Because if you have served 10 clients, all 10 clients, the probability of all 10 clients referring someone to you is low. It could be 1 out of 10. So that's the way referral works. So you can see, oh, that's so you need to start thinking not just the conversation, you need to start connecting dots based on what is said to based on what might be happening on the net, on the ground that they are not communicating. And then you map that against what the future or what the outcome is that they want to achieve. Okay, was that so technical? Do you understand? If you understand, please put a yes. If you need me to re-explain what I just said, let me know. If you understand, put a yes. Let me see. Okay, everyone is thinking about if they understood. If you have questions, raise your hands up. I need you to be all be very clear. So if you have questions, you can put your hands up or mute your mic to speak. If you understand, put a yes in the chat. Okay. Everyone said yes. Is there any part that you need further clarification on? Della said yes. Rosemary, Jokas, Justina, Chukwuemeka, Oluchi, Mercy. I need to ensure that everyone is clear because we have work to do. So, yes. Okay. I think I'll just proceed. So that is how you map out, good. That is how you map out the current state and move that to, okay, good, to the future state. So the future state is the outcome they want to achieve, right? Then you see what's the impact of that outcome. Then you go back, you walk backwards. So reverse engineering. You walk backward to what's currently going on, what should be going on, what should we have in place, then you say this is what the result will be. So that is how you do a business analysis rather. So when you're then mapping it out, you should know that each of this stage, it's either you are the owner or you know who the owner is, and you have to be able to hold each of the owner accountable while you document the follow-through stage, you follow up, you document everything, and you communicate. You see the way the project manager experts give you how to communicate what is currently going, what you've done, what is in progress, the blockers to your next step in recommendation. That is the way you communicate. And I want you all to hold that to your left hand, like codify. It's been codified for you. Work with it because that's the best way to communicate in any business environment for you to be taken serious. Okay, good. So the goal is movement. The goal is movement. The goal is you showing progress. The goal is progress. So it's not just, oh, you've documented all the opportunities that have come in. Maybe Zaka sent a message, or someone recently just submitted a lead process. You're like, okay, you documented it, you let it go. We don't know who is owning the process. You don't know who is following up with the process. You're not following up with the process. You're not monitoring the documentation. That is not a good workflow. That's terrible. And you should not be doing that. A VSA from Baba should never be in that pocket. Please, should never be in that pocket. So you want to know if a follow-up has happened, you want to know when it happened, not even it has happened, when it happened. So that way you can ensure that every opportunity as an owner, every opportunity as a next step, every opportunity progress, movement is visible and is well documented. So that is the beauty of you mapping out the workflow. So that way, even when you are reporting, right, you're showing your clients, the founder, the processes, you're doing a reporting stage of what has been done so far, what is currently in the pipeline, what is working, what are the blockers. You have enough information to make a full business case, to present a full business case, not I'm working on it, not Lagbaja did not send this information. Mr. John did not do what he ought to do. Oh, before he gets to that point, you send a message to him, understanding what support does he need, what is going on. You're on their neck. See, like this. You're on their neck. That is exactly your job as a VSA. Okay, so now I've already explained this. There's no need for me to even use this. Sometimes I tell myself that my slide is usually behind my explanation. But you can then see visibly, right, where you can create value or where you create value. Your role is operational. It's not a BA administration. It is not administrative. It is not just, I am checking out with you to ensure that you know that you have a meeting. No, your role is very operational, which is why if you've ever reviewed the VSA educational folder, you will see the pathway that has been created. This has a potential for you to grow in your career as much as you even get into the pinnacle of you being a COO, because you have a strong foundation to proceed to grow in that angle. So you create value across, even more than this, right? You create value across all stages, depending on the engagements with the client. And you see this last one, the reporting is where, this is where shows your strategic thinking of being a consultant, understanding consultative selling, of establishing the relationship with founders. Okay, now let's take a look at activities versus progress. So you can see what an activity is, you can see what the progress of the movement is or outcome, right? Oh, you sent 50 emails, like most of you now have most of you to connect with 50 founders, right? Oh, you connected with 50 founders. It's not about the 50 founders, it's about how many conversations, what's the ratio, what's the metric that you're currently, the KPI that you're currently measuring yourself against. So KPI means key performance indicators or metrics that you're currently measuring yourself against. So, oh, I sent 50 emails, right? What's the outcome? Out of that 50 emails, you probably had 10% which are booked a call with the founder. That's a 10%, that's a 5-to-1 ratio. Actually, is that 5-to-1? Yes, that's a 5-to-1 ratio. So you need, yeah, that's 5-to-1 ratio. So you need to either say, oh, I would need to increase. If your KPI is to have 20 meetings booked, if your KPI is to have 10 meetings booked in a month, you're like, oh, how many emails should I send if my conversion rate is 10%? Okay, now we're going to mathematical side of sales. How many emails should I send if my KPI, if a funnel gives you a KPI, gives you a metrics that, oh, I want to have 10 meetings booked in a month, 10 meetings booked in a month, then you're asking yourself, you're working backwards is what's going to be the activities to drive that outcome. So if I want a 10 meeting, my conversion rate is about 10%, and I need to have 10 meetings booked, then I need to probably send about 100 if your conversion rate is 10%. If you don't know your conversion rate, so this means you need to start tracking. This means that you need to start tracking your conversion rates. That is why I said document all the conversations you're having, document all the connections. Oh, I sent 50 connection requests. Today, I sent 100 connection requests. This week, out of the 100, 20 have accepted. Oh, in a week, 20% was my conversion rate. Out of the 20% that accepted, I was able to have true conversation with 5 of them. Oh, so that is you're having about 10%. Out to 10%, that is 50% of the 20%. That's 10% of the entire outreach. So that's the way you calculate the activities, you determine the activities that drive the outcome. 20 lead research was, you had 20 organizations that you researched on based on the ICP and based on the offer. And out of that 23%, or 3 of them became an opportunity that actually led to a conversion rate. Oh, what's the percentage between 20 and 3? Oh, you updated the CRM. Okay, fine. After the updated CRM, I was able to find a client that would have been a lost opportunity. You're able to nurture that relationship. How many clients were you able to save from leakage? So those are some of the metrics that you measure yourself against while understanding the activities that actually drive the progress. Because at the end of the day, funders do not pay for activities, they pay for progress, they pay for outcome, they pay for what actually comes into the pay for the business outcome, what they gain, not what you did for them to gain what they gain. It's what they gained in that process, in that activity, in that task, and not what you actually did. It's the results they're looking at. So, common workflow bottlenecks that you might face, because these are execution problems that we need to talk about and you need to be aware of. I know one of the things that I told you in one of the videos that I made, why I think it was the objection handling, is when you get a no, we send outreach and they tell you no, I'm not interested. It's don't take that to heart. It's part of the process. Get used to it. You know the way to just get used to that and move on. Or re-strategize or reframe the problem. But here are some other execution problems. They're not market problems, but execution problems that you might face. Number one is nobody follows up. So this is going to be a big one, because if nobody is following up with certain leads that are coming into the pipeline, which is why you need visibility into all the pipelines. If they are not integrated, they're scattered. You need visibility. If the leads are not follow up, they go cold. And when they go cold, it means you have to restart the process from stage 1, or possibly you might not even be able to retrieve or regain that performance. Number 2 is outdated CRM record. This is very important. You may get to the point where you're like, oh, it's getting stressful for me to keep documenting all these things. If you don't clean up your data, this is where your data hygiene comes in. If you don't clean up your data, it's going to get outdated. You would have an outdated record. An outdated record equals bad data, because then you don't know which client is supposed to be mapped to this opportunity, to this offer, which client has been followed up with, which lead has gone cold, which one should we follow up with, which one should we work. So it's just going to be bad decisions made from bad data. So you updating your CRM record is highly important. Number 3 is meeting undocumented. Oh, there was a meeting that was had, but was never documented. I recently started using a CRM tool called Nucleus. It's not a popular one. It's just, how do I even put it? It's a CRM that was specifically created for a program. I think that's the best way to explain it. And I had tried my best to integrate it to all my tools, but I couldn't get it to integrate to all my tools because it's a white label. I think that's the one. It's a white label, and they don't have all the integration tools. So I was like, oh shit, I will not be able to get all the visibility to all my meetings. And if my coach was checking that, and I was like, oh, Florence, what's going on? The person know that I have Calendly, I have Google, I have Microsoft. Outside, if you're having multiple if a founder is having multiple systems, you need to be able to ensure that you're creating a visibility to all systems so that one is not being overlooked. So now I have to start working on automation to ensure that everything moves through that process so that I don't have to continue to use, because I use Airtable, so I don't continue to use what I'm using. So that is going to be more automated. That's going to be, will give me more visibility into all my calls, into all my processes, into all everything I'm working on. So that's the same problem that founders also face. They have some meetings they're not documented because they have too many tools. Sometimes they'll give someone their Google link, sometimes they'll give someone their Microsoft link, sometimes they'll give someone maybe his Book Me link. Sometimes, so that is why sometimes having one tool pays, because it gives you visibility into the processes and everything that comes in, rather than having multiple things scattered. And right now, all my calls are going through that CRM. So it's really giving me visibility into, okay, what have I done this week? What do I need to do this week? So I'm slowly moving away from manual process, moving away from, I still use my Airtable names, but moving away from a lot of manual process. So that way it's all tracked accurately, which is why I would never say that CRM is or using software is bad. You understand? I'm not saying you should get stuck with Google Drive or Google Sheet only. But if the father cannot afford a sophisticated tool, you as a VSA must be able to navigate through that process. Either it's manually, but it has to be done. Then number 4 is unclear ownership. You see this one? If you are working with a larger company, you're working with a sales team, you're working with the marketing team, anything you're working with, this one, you need to hold it. Because if you're working with just a founder with maybe 1, 2, 3 employees, it's easy to know, okay, this is this person, this is this person, even though you're documenting and you're writing, this is who owns this process. But if you're working with a larger team, that this is a team that now start owning processes, and then you need to do a lot of work. So you need to be up and doing, ensuring that you are holding everyone accountable without letting anything fall through the cracks. So that's one of the things that I was also going to mention. So now we're talking about a visibility framework towards, we've talked about your workflow. I've talked a little bit about reporting, but now you need visibility because the founder needs visibility into what has been done, what is currently going on. And this is also what the project manager expert Econ mentioned in our last meeting. So I'm not going to use the same framework, right? I'm just going to put it in simpler terms. I'm just going to put it in simple terms so that way you're not using big grammar, right? You need to understand what happened, what is happening, what is stock, what happens next, and who owns it. That's the 5 things. So when a founder has any question at any time, you need to be able to answer these 5 questions. What happened? This is what happened. What is happening? This is what is currently happening. That is what is going on. What's the work in progress? What is the progress? What's the movement? What's the momentum? What is stuck is the obstacle. What is currently stuck? What happens next? What's the next step, the recommendation? And most importantly is who owns it. You see that who owns it? Very important. If it is you, you mention it. If it's a founder, you mention it. If it is somebody else, you mention it. You putting together all this would help you into giving visibility, or gives the team or the founder or the organization or the business visibility into what's going on in the company, going on in that process. And this visibility actually creates confidence and trust. Trust in you trust in your process and trust in your expertise. And that in turn gives you confidence, confidence to move on, confidence to proceed, confidence in your own expertise, because your reporting structure has strategic impacts. So, what founders need to know, right? What founders need to know. So you already have the visibility framework that you can work with. So when you're working with the founder, and what do they need to know weekly? Because sometimes you might be working with the founder, you need to do weekly. You might be working with a team that you need to give monthly reports. You might be working with an organization that you need to give quarterly reports, by annual reports, or yearly reports. It doesn't matter how, when the frequency is being scheduled, but what are the things that they need to know is more. Number one is the opportunities that are currently active. We have active opportunities, you have cold opportunities, you have inactive opportunities, you have lost opportunities, but most importantly, you see the active one, they really need to know. What moved this week? So this is really more working towards you as a VSA, which a weekly report. In fact, I'll say if you're working with the founder, any founder, ensure you have a weekly report set up. I remember when I was working in my previous organization, even though I was in HR, I always have because it was HR, it wasn't weekly, but I did a bi-weekly, a quarterly, a bi-weekly, is it bi-weekly? No, bi-monthly. So that is every 2 months. Bi-monthly, I had a quarterly, I had a bi-annual, and I had a annual report. So ensuring that my VP then has visibility into everything that was going on. And apart from that, I had my one-on-one with her, which was every 2 weeks anyway, which I still used to give a report. So giving reports gives true visibility into, it's not how did this week go? Oh, this week was great. No, that is not what they want to know. They really want to know what's at the outcome, what are the outcome in the business that have driven results in that week. Oh, this week was great, fine, right? But that's not what they want to know. This week produced this result, or this is what happened, this is what is happening, this was what is tough, or this is what I struggled with this week. This is what I can do to, unbottle the struggle, or reduce the struggle or the obstacle and stuff. And this is how I need you to help me. Finish. That's how to give reports. So next time I come and ask you guys again, how was this week for you? Please, I don't need you to tell me that you're fine, because I know you're fine. Well, I'll still love to hear that, because sometimes you don't know what might happen, but that's one of the results. That's the response every founder is looking for. So don't wait until they ask you what is going on in my business. When you hear the word what's going on, or what went wrong, or what went down last week, or how was the week for you, that is what they really want to know. And if they then want to know more personal information, they may say, okay, Florence, enough of the business conversation. How are you really feeling? And then, you can then go into personal. But ensure that you know that doesn't matter the conversation, it doesn't matter the relationship you have with any business, it's usually business first. So using the same visibility structure, visibility framework, you want to adapt it into your founder reporting structure of what are the opportunities that are active, what moved this week, what are the obstacles, what's stored, what requires an attention, and what should happen next. So you are putting the same process, the same structure, the same framework in place in your reporting structure, in your reporting system to the founder. So we can then see that reporting creates visibility. Reporting creates visibility. This is where you can give your wins of what to move forward. This is where you can let them, even if you have a shared folder, or you have a shared system, sometimes they don't even have time to go into it. Yes, they have visibility into the system, but they may not go and start checking what went down, except it's needed, right? So they expect that during their meeting with you, which is if you're working with founders, always ensure you have that one-on-one with them, maybe at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week, or at the beginning of the week, depending on the cadence that the founder wants to work. You also want to know what opportunities are currently in the pipeline. That is how they will know you're working, not the one that is, oh God have mercy. Not the one that is until the founder now asks you the opportunities you're working on, you now start sending. You guys may not understand why I'm laughing. You now start sending messages to OpenAI, Google. You are working with a small business. What's a business with OpenAI, Google, Hotspot, the message, you now copy the founders so that they can see that you're working when they asked you, what have you been working on? So, which means you've not been working on anything previously. So they don't have visibility into it. So that is why, as a VSA, you should never make that mistake. You don't wait until you are asked what is currently in the pipeline before you show what is in the pipeline. So either is a shared folder. Microsoft has a shared folder. You can share, you can create Teams link. Google has shared folder. So there's no what's this thing called? There's no organization that uses one of all these tools that you cannot share the folders, the working, and make it a working document that they can have access to. So you want to ensure that they have access to. So it is not left to them if they want to take the initiative to go see what do we currently have in the pipeline. But if they trust you enough, they trust your expertise, they wait until when you're actually having the meeting and you're giving a very strategic reporting with the framework that has been given to you. And that way they can see what you're working on already. They see the research, they see the documentation. If it is not documented, it never happened. I think that's one of the things I told my cohort, the first cohort. If it was not documented, it never happened. So you need to document it, you need to write it down, you need to ensure that even without being asked, they have visibility. So when they now even ask, they are asking for an executive snapshot at that point. So which is team clarity. I'll keep coming back to people because it's people that like to write story. Team clarity. When they ask for executive out, I think we have that. So okay, let me leave that for now. They are asking for a full strategic overview of what's going down, not academic writing. Okay, so now you also want to list out the risk, right? Of what's stored, what are the risks? The project manager expert, he can talk to you about how you need to start foreseeing risk even before they occur. There's difference between risk and issue. So before it becomes an issue that needs to be escalated, you already recognize the risk and you've communicated it. And then priorities, what do you need their attention on? Or what would you be focusing on that week? So maybe you started the process, you started with lead research, you're working on lead research, you already saw some risk, oh, we have too many offers. I'd like to prioritize these services and deprioritize these services so we can have a more enriched pipeline. Tell me which founder is not going to listen to that. If they have an alternative, if they have an opposing view, then you can have conversations about it that would come into a resolution. So either there's a compromise or either there's a compromise from both sides. So either you compromise, like you deprioritize, you reprioritize what was deprioritized, or the founder has a compromise and says, okay, work on that and let me see the results. So that is how business is sweet. You can say that it's sweet. It's just that most people don't like to do the work. And that will not be your case. In fact, in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so we're going to do a mini exercise. Yeah, it's laughing. I'm going to do a mini exercise at this point. Does anyone have any question? We're not doing groups. Don't worry, we're not doing groups because I've been shouting team clarity. I don't know if there's anybody in that team that's okay. Rosemary is in team clarity. Because team clarity, you people need sanction at this time. You're not holding yourself accountable. May God forgive you. Team execution, you guys are doing well. Okay, now, so let's do a mini exercise. This is going to be a group discussion. We're all going to discuss this, okay? And you can also the questions already, so the questions are very visible for you. So we have a scenario, we have a client, right, that we're working with, and you've researched 50 leads, okay? This, yeah. That's a nice thing. You have about 50 leads that you've researched so far. Out of the 50, you've been able to qualify about 40%, that's like 20% that you've qualified. So qualification means that you've moved from the research to seeing if this person actually fits your ICP and offer. So your ICP and offer, and they have the purchasing power to buy from the organization. That's the qualification process. So you've done that. Maybe you should start holding your pen and start thinking now. So you've done that, right? And out of that, you've had the conversation with them, you've had the discovery call with them, and you've been able to do 8 calls out of that, 50 leads out of that 20 prospects. So now out of that 8 calls that has been booked, the founder has spoken to them, they've 4 of them have expressed interest by asking for proposals. So you've sent 2 proposals. You have one that is being stored. The person is doing shiggy shiggy. If you don't understand shiggy shiggy, research it. It's doing shiggy shiggy. We've lost one opportunity. Okay, let me shut up my mouth. Okay. So the question now is, what should the founder know? We have 4 questions. What should the founder know? What concerns you? Like, what is your own concern about the pipeline? This pipeline that you are seeing, this 50, 20, 8, 4, 2, 1 is a pipeline. What is the concern? Like, what bothers you about this pipeline? What would you recommend that we do, or that the founder should do? And what's going to be your next step? So anybody can answer. I'm just going to give you like 5 minutes to think about this quickly. And at this time, I think I would like everyone to talk, but I want everyone to raise up their hands so that we can pick accordingly, and we can go through the process. So I'm back to my meeting screen so I can see whoever is raising up their hands. But I'll give you 5 minutes. I wish I have a time. I'll give you 5 minutes to 2:36. So that would be by 2:41. I want to see hands up, or if anybody's ready to talk, that's fine. But hands up so that you can have the microphone and have the floor to talk. So you have 5 minutes to start thinking about it. 15 researched leads, 20 qualified prospects, 8 meetings booked, 4 active opportunities, 2 proposals sent, 1 stalled opportunity. What should the founder know? What concerns you? What bothers you about this pipeline? What would you recommend? What should happen next? So we have 1 minute to go. If you're ready, feel free to raise up your hands so that you can be beckoned on to start. So who's going first? Is it that you are waiting for someone to go first before you now start the conversation? Because I don't understand. Who is who is ready? Let whoever is ready put their hands up. Or no one is ready yet. Okay, okay. I'll tell everybody according to what I see on the screen. Deborah, you go first.
Okay, ma. I think I have to pray. You always call me first. But anyways, let's okay, so our research leads we have 50, and then from 50 we move to 20 qualified prospects. I think what we need to, I'm talking on the board generally first before I start answering the questions. I think what we'll need to work on there is more specific lead targeting. We'll have to look at that again. Then from 8 meetings that we were able to book, we only got 4 active opportunities. So it's either we work on um working on more, like rescheduling more meetings with those remaining 4 leads that we're not able to get opportunities from, so that like rescheduling more meetings, keep on reaching out to them until we're able to get something from them. And then 2 proposals sent out of the 4 opportunities, we're only able to send out just 2 proposals. What happened to the remaining 2? So we have to
Mhm.
work on that too. And then for the one stalled opportunity, we'll probably look into why the lead is stalling. If there's something that we
Mhm.
have to change, if we have to compromise or come to a common ground so that we don't lose that one opportunity. Now, what should the founder know? Of course, this is already like a dashboard that
Mhm.
we can show the founder that we have researched 50 leads, we have 20 qualified prospects. It is self-explanatory. We don't even have to start making it ambiguous and all of that. Then what concerns me about this pipeline, that I need to work on um I'm sorry. Yeah, like I said before, I will need to work on my lead targeting, because why do I only have 20 prospects out of 50? Does it mean that I was targeting the wrong leads in the first place? So yeah, I need to work on that. That concerns me. What would I recommend? I would recommend lots of active follow up, because why should I have only 4 opportunities from 20 prospects? So yeah, I'll need to do active follow-up reschedule meetings upon meetings until they listen to me. Then what should happen next? Yeah, contact the stored opportunity, advance the 4 active opportunities, make sure you don't lose it. Then send proposals for any opportunity ready to buy. Definitely. Schedule additional meetings. Yeah, I already said that. Then continue researching leads. Continue researching leads so that I can have more targeted leads. Thank you, ma.
Good job. Awesome. Okay. When I'm writing everything you're saying now. So that everybody has a page in my book right now. Please go on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good evening, ma. Good day, everyone.
Yes.
Okay, looking at the dashboard, it's already self-explanatory, like Deborah said, and the founder should know this first. And I would, for me, I will make a detailed tracker with details of how I was able to do this to arrive at this dashboard. And then, secondly, what concerns me here is we have 4 active opportunities, but only two proposals was sent. And I believe that if there's no payment due, then the proposal sent is as good as not even sent, because the the business has not been closed. So there should be a payment due. There should be a payment due before the business can be closed. And that's one of the things that will be my concern. I need to close up on that business we're actually having before I could say, okay, my work is done here. And then we'll go on to the onboarding session for the clients. Now, these 2 proposals are very, very important to me. I have to just follow up until the deal is closed. And then that remaining one, because looking at this dashboard, one is already still. So I'll follow up on that remaining active opportunity, because I believe that there should be a challenge. Is it that I escalate it to the founder? Maybe the pricing is too high or too low, or the person is not actually getting, is not even maybe convinced, because maybe the pricing is high and he has gotten maybe another place where they're giving him a lower percentage on it. If that is the problem, then I have to escalate it to the founder so they can see what they can do. At least there must be a problem that is making that active opportunity not to ask for a proposal, so that we can move ahead. And then looking at this, I think I've not really done well with researching leads, because I should be able to 50 research lead, then I should be able to get more than half, if possible. The 50 lead should lead to qualified prospects. So I'll look more into that. And then the next question, I think my hand is actually covering this. What will I recommend? What should I recommend to this? Well, I think I've made a point already that I will actually look into more my research. I'll look into my research and make it maybe direct to the kind of people I want to turn into prospects and maybe clients. What should happen next? Firstly, make sure I follow up on the proposal sent and make sure they become my clients, close the deal, and then take them to the onboarding stage. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
What's going next? You still want me to call you again? Okay, Justina. Justina. Okay. Justina. Rosemary.
Okay, so what should the fund do? This is of course a dashboard, but from what we've been learning since the inception of the class, I believe that if I should have my proper records, that I have documented so far that made me arrive at this conclusion. So briefly discussing and showing what's it called the owner of the business, yes, that we let them have a clearer picture of, in fact, why and how I arrived at this data. And it's not like I've compromised it in any way. So that has solved it. And so they can have a quick overview. So moving there, so the researched lead. So for me, I believe that if I've done more with my leads, the outcome will be higher than what it is. So for example, if my qualified prospect is up to 25 or 30, so it means that there is higher tendency that I might have more than 4 active opportunities. um so I have to do really more. I have to do more with my lead research. So what concerns you about this pipeline? So what concerns me, it's I have to, what's it called? I don't want my words to fail me now. So my concern is I have to close the deal. I have to see why um I'm not getting a lot of converts after I've gotten all this after I've sent out all these mails. So I think that is what my concern would be about this pipeline. So I'll need to review and check what exactly is the problem. And of course, follow up, back to back follow up is one thing that I cannot I can't do without. I just have to follow up with them and ask, because there was something you mentioned during the class. I don't know if it was you or one of the student, one of us here, that said what, after reviewing and sending out and checking out the challenge of the solution you want to offer, we need to also look at it that, is there a problem with how I have offered it, like I have addressed it. So we can actually review what has been sent out to check what exactly are they not getting right, to have allowed me have this low response from them. So I think that is it for me. And then what should happen next? I still think it's follow up, because if you, for example, we have to close it. If you have to know this is too low, then I have to do more. I have to do more in reviewing, in follow up, and all. So I think.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rosemary. Adiola.
Yes. So for me, I'll carry on through the process. I'll carry everyone along through the process. That is, I will document whatever I have done so that they could actually see the process of how I arrived at 50 research leads and 20 qualified prospects, 8 meetings booked, and how I arrived at the dashboard. So from there, I will let the founder know that this is what I arrived at, and also see the process that I have this dashboard. Then what concerns me about the pipeline is the low conversion after the meeting first. And secondly, the research leads for me will help me, has helped me filter what I need at the 20 qualified prospects. So with the filtering, I could actually go back to that whenever I want to do a research again, because I have seen what worked for the qualified prospect. That is, I could actually go into them to search for their industries, like industries they came from, where they came from, to actually know that, okay, these are the people that actually buy into what I am trying to do, then I go deeper into that. It will help me from earlier. And what again I saw about the pipeline again is small active pipeline. It's a small active pipeline. And I saw a stalled opportunity. And the issue that happened, and I saw a drop from when I had the meeting, that is something is wrong with my meetings booked. Like something was actually wrong with my meeting. For me to have 8 meetings booked already, it was a progress. Then for me to have dropped down to 4, there is something wrong with my meeting. Maybe the way I did the meeting or something like that. I'll have to cross-check with that. And what I would recommend, I would recommend a refined idealized ICP. Yes, will strengthen my pitch and value proposition. I will re-engage the stalled opportunity to understand what is blocking my progress. That is, I will revisit them to be able to check what really went wrong. That is, get a feedback on what went wrong. So they could actually drop me on that. They could actually get fill me in on that. So what would happen next? I will follow up with the active opportunities, because as long as one has stalled, we should not also remember that we also have a long way to go forward. So I would learn to catch what I already have and work with what I already have so that I don't actually lose it also. I will continue filling the top of the funnel while improving conversations rates. I will also analyze why the meetings did not lead to proposals. That is, like I said earlier, I would like to get feedback why the meetings did not lead to, so I could actually work on that. So for me, that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have someone has raised. Matthew.
Yeah, good evening, ma. Sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so from the pipeline, 50, sorry, I can't, okay, 50 research leads were made and just 20 qualified. Then 8 meetings booked, then 4 active opportunities. Then we have just 2 proposals sent, and then 1 was still. So what should I tell the founder? First of all, I'll have to let the founder know what really happened. Like, I'll tell him, okay, we researched 50 and okay, just 20 of these 50 qualified. That is like informing the founder. Yeah, just telling him what and what happened throughout the pipeline. Then what should be my concern is there was a drop from the qualified prospects to meetings. So I should be concerned with that. That just 20 from 20 prospects, just only 8 meetings were held. Then this means that 60% of the qualified prospects did not progress to a meeting. Then sorry. Okay, the number of proposals that were also sent was low. Out of 4, just 2 proposals were received. That is very low. Yeah. So what I should recommend is that we improve conversion from qualified prospects to meeting by reviewing the outreach processes to understand why only 8 out of the 20 prospects progressed to a meeting. At least there should be more than 8 out of 20. Then accelerate. Okay. Then the 4 active prospects. Sorry, I can't see. Okay. Out of the 4 active opportunities, we should have sent proposals to all of them at least. It can't just be possible that it's just 2. So that should be a concern. Then what should I recommend? I recommend that we increase, sorry, we increase prospecting efforts to strengthen from the top. That is, we should not have just 50. Even if we have 50, we should have more than 20 qualified prospects. Out of those 20 qualified, the meetings that should be booked should be at least up to 16. Then what should happen to okay? What should happen next? Okay, what should happen next is there should be follow up. Yeah, follow up is number one. Then for the stalled opportunity, there should be a follow up. Like they should like try to get the stalled. Should try to follow up with the opportunity that was lost, because every opportunity that is lost will also lead to loss in business. I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much. Rosemary, I know you said you have a question, but you might need to be patient with us. Justina.
Okay, ma. Sorry, I'm actually outside in a very noisy area. I had to step out. So
Okay.
I reached out to Deborah. I'm so sorry. I'm
Okay.
outside. So
Okay.
yes, I don't know if you can hear me.
They can hear you.
Okay. So firstly, this is a dashboard and it's actually showing numbers. And if I'm understanding, because I had to ask Deborah what the question and everything. So she told me that it's the VSA that prepared the dashboard. Is that correct, ma?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if the VSA prepared the dashboard, it shows that every details here is totally strange to the founder. So if you are saying 50 leads from where? The founder has to know the source where the leads are coming from, first of all. So you can be able to, and also get details of the actual leads, the leads you got. Yes. So then from there, you can now proceed with telling the founder. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So from there, with the detailed information, at least the founder can be able to understand where these 50 leads are coming from. The company is coming from, to actually know if the companies, maybe the leads that you send to are actually in synergy with the company and what the company is looking out for and all that. Then for the second question, I said, what concerns you about this pipeline? Actually, for the pipeline, you researched 50 leads. And out of the 50 leads, qualified prospects, that's those that accepted your connection. Let's say, for instance, we are using LinkedIn. We use LinkedIn to search for these leads. And you were able to convert 20 were able to accept your connection. You send them a message and all that. Out of that 20, you were able to secure 8 out of the 20. So what concerns the VSA with this pipeline is that there's actually a drop from 50 leads to 20 qualified. Then out of the 20, you only booked 8 meetings. That means that there's gap. There's something that is missing there. Probably your message to the prospects were not really in tandem with, or maybe you didn't really understand the pain points of some of them, or maybe your services weren't what they needed at that point, which also comes from the ICP part of it. Did the VSA actually consider the correct ICP before sending out requests? That's for that. Then what would you recommend? It also boils down to, I will recommend the ICP being looked into, the people you're reaching out to. Are they really the right people? Is that the right target? Secondly, what kind of messages did I send to these people? I will compare it with those that was converted and those that are not able to convert, I'll be able to check what really costs 16 out of 20 not to book meeting with me. What could actually be the problem? Is there a mix-up somewhere? Or maybe what we are actually selling to them is not what they need? Or these companies out of 16, are they actually in line with our ICP? So it still boils down to ICP, checking our ICP very well and checking the messages you send to each, because we will always say that each client is peculiar to their own problem. So checking if maybe the VSA use a generic message for everybody. What works for Mr. A might not really work for Mr. B. So you have to check and know what works for A and what works for B, and be able to determine how to restructure either your messages or how to structure your ICP. Then what should happen next? Okay, based on few what to recommend, I'm even overlooking 4 opportunities active. You also have to ask yourself, what made out of 8 that booked meetings? Out of 8, I lost 4 and gained 4. It's also a cause of concern for you to look into that. Find out the reason why out of the 8 that booked meetings with you, only 4 was active. You have to check if you actively followed up. That's where the tracker comes in. If you as a VSA followed up duly on the 8, if that might be a reason why you're only having 4 out of 8, or maybe your conversation with the 4th that didn't book the or accept your proposal was poor and all that, then proposal sent. Out of 4 active opportunities that you were able to convert, 2 persons only accepted for you to send the proposal. You should also check to know if you really understood the pain point of, or actually what they actually needed at that point. If we were able to explain the services to them correctly, that is where documentation comes in. You have to check your tracker to know if the processes were properly documented, because if it was not properly documented, you cannot really track where the problem is actually coming from, because there's a great loop in this dashboard. There's a very great loop from 50 to 20 qualified, from 20 to 8, from 8 to 4, from 4 to 2. There was a depreciating slope at every point in time. Only 2 proposals sent at the end of the day. You also need to find out why the 1 person out of the 2 did not go ahead with the proposal. Is it that maybe is it the price? You need to consider some factors. Is it pricing? Is it the services? There are so many factors that may have hindered this client not to book this. So another thing that will help you determine this is you can kindly send a follow-up email, since you already have a contact with them, to get a feedback on why 1 person did not, on sending an email to the 1 person that did not accept the proposal, to know the reason why the person did not go ahead. Then what's the next? What should happen next? What should happen next is that you should make sure that you follow up on the opportunity that you see, to make sure that the person buys the product or you seal the deal. Yes. And you should also check your follow-up to make sure that you did this duly, because poor follow-up can also result to losing deals. it may be the factor that have hindered you from getting the client you should have gotten from eight meetings booked to one opportunity only sealed. So what next is for you to be able to organize your your tracker, if that's what you are doing, or your CRM, to be sure that you have a due process of every of your meetings or the processes you went through for this particular project. Then also go back to the messages that you sent to these leads to be able to know if there is a loop there and know how to address it. Thank you.
Very quickly was that 1.5 page. Okay. Thank you, Justina. Chukwuemeka and Oluchi. Then we still have
Ma,
praise. Oluchi, yeah,
ma,
I'm
good
ready
evening,
for
ma.
you. Good evening.
So, okay, so based on this report here, I don't know. For me, I want to personally use the SWOT analysis because I feel like I just want to just approach it from strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats and angle. And then I also want to work based on, okay, if I have a KPI of 100% turnout, yes, I know that my KPI is, I need to do better. So based on my own, if I have like a KPI of 100, yeah, I would say that there's a lot of plummeting and there's a lot of reduction in output, which I want to work on. So from my strength, yeah, I would say I was able to achieve research leads of 50, which is a strength. It means I did a lot. Maybe last time I did 30, but then I did 50 this time around. I'll just tell the founder that, okay, our strength is that we're able to do 50 this time around. Then another strength I see here is, I don't see any other strength here actually. I don't see any other strength here. But from the weakness point, I would say that there's a lot of plummeting here. From 50 to 20 is something that it means that there's a little bit of lapses when I'm pushing a little bit after the research qualification. When it comes to prospect qualification as well, that I've dropped, and then I continue to drop. So that's a weakness for me. Then opportunities, that there's an opportunity to grow. And also, since I got 50 research leads and I was able to get 20 qualified prospects, and out of that 20 qualified prospects, I got 8 meetings booked. It means that there's an opportunity that 8 people actually said yes. So whatever it is I did to get the 8 people to book that meeting the first time, I'll actually continue to do it and even improve on it so I can get more people. Then for the active opportunities, I also need to work on that one too. That's a weakness. Then that's opportunity. Then the threat are things that I cannot control. I feel like it's not everything I'm able to control. Like things like people being able to book meetings with me or people being available for meetings. But I will make sure that I would work around it by telling them they should give me time that they will be free, or ask them whatever could be the issue so that I can work around it if possible for them. So based on the questions at the bottom part, that is, what should the founder know? For the founder, I'll give this founder the SWOT analysis basically, and I'll tell the founder everything that is needed to know based on the weaknesses and the threats and opportunities as well. I will highlight opportunities so that the founder does not get overwhelmed with the feeling of problems. Well, of course, I will say what the problems are, but of course, there's a leeway out of it. It's not the end of the world. Then I would also talk for the next question, which is what concerns me in the pipeline, concerns me about the pipeline. I'm particularly concerned about the plummeting of the numbers from 50%, from 50 research leads to 20 qualified prospects. It means that my research leads were not, my qualified prospect is not, okay, let me put it like this. It means I didn't get proper research leads because I'm having 50%, I'm having 50 research leads and I'm having 20 qualified people. That means I need to either broaden my research leads pool, or I need to be a little bit more deliberate about how I'm getting the research leads. So I will definitely work on that aspect. Then another thing that is wrong with the pipeline that I can see is the meetings booked. So out of 20 qualified prospects, I only booked 8 meetings. So that means maybe a little bit of my productivity has dropped, and I just need to ask myself what's happened. Was I a little bit overwhelmed or stressed to that period, or is it that I just forgot or something? I also need to work on my own productivity on my own end. Maybe I need to do a little bit more automation when it comes to certain things, so that I can be able to focus on other things as well, and be able to have higher numbers when it comes to booking of meetings. And then if it also means that I have to message people a little bit more, I have to change how I approach people. I approach founders, I approach possible clients or prospective clients. Then I also have to work on that one. So I not just approach them with spam messages. I have to be a little bit more relational in my wording and maybe in my approach. So we have 4 active opportunities, and that 4 active opportunities compared to the 8 booked meetings means that I need to work on my sales closing skills. It means my sales closing skills needs a whole lot more because I'm having half of my meetings booked. So that means even if I had 50 meetings booked, I would have had 25 I've had maybe 25 active opportunities. So I just need to work on that one. So, okay, then proposal sent, maybe 2. And then I need to work on that one as well. 2 really in relation to the other numbers, 2 is very low. Then the stored opportunity, I think I should have said the stored opportunity for what I said in for the 4 active opportunities. But for the stored opportunity, I'll still say the same thing I said before, that it means that my sales closing is very poor and I need to work on it. So I need to learn a little bit more about selling and closing sales properly, because I'm having one stalled opportunity. And I feel like, I don't know, this number, it feels like I didn't really do a lot. It feels like I definitely could have done better if this is what I've done. Then next question is, what would I recommend? What would I recommend? Okay, yes, I said I would recommend broadening my research leads pool, where I get my research from, maybe checking on Facebook and other people, asking questions, DMing people on LinkedIn, work on how I'll talk to people, work on my sales closing, then also work on my productivity, maybe automate some things, document things a little bit more, then try new things and also get better, like experiment and also get better and continue to climb. Then I can also, I don't know, I think particularly for this stored opportunity, the one stored opportunity, I will continue to make increase my KPI. So my expected key performance index, I would like to increase it so that I can also, or if I don't have a KPI, I would like to have a KPI that I can actually work on and work with on achieving more. So that's another thing I would recommend. Then what should happen next? I don't know from here. But what should happen next is, again, okay, I think I said KPI. So if there was no KPI before, I would do a KPI in what would be the new approach. Then another thing is, again, broaden the research pool, the research qualification pool as well. Then what will happen next is also that I'll definitely put this forward to the founder. I will definitely put it, but I won't minimize it. But I'll come from the angle of strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities as threats, so that we are a little bit more solution oriented. Because I don't really want to highlight so much of the problem. So I will definitely try and ask around research on what I can do better moving forward. And I think that's what I know I can deduct from this, ma.
Thank you, Georgia. Dorcas. Dorcas. Chukwemeka, please go next.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So what I have here is pipeline analysis, and I'll dive straight into questions. So, says that first question is what should the founder know? So, I think there are like three significant things the founder should know from this pipeline analysis, and one is the drop off in the rate of conversion because there is a significant link between the meetings book and the proposals sent. And the second thing the founder should know is the lead quality versus the sales skills. So either the lead is not perfectly fit for the offer or the sales process in those meetings is not effectively uncovering pains that leads to a proposal. And the third thing the founder needs to know is the issue of stagnation. Because having a stalled opportunity early this pipeline suggests lack of momentum and also failure to create urgency. So that's that for what the founder should know. So the second question says, what concerns you about this pipeline? So I think that what concerns me about the pipeline is the low proposal to meeting conversion ratio, because when you're converting about only 25% of book meeting into proposals, means that 6 out of the 8 meetings ended without a clear step or value proposition. So the low proposal to meeting conversion ratio should be an area of concern to me. And also the pipeline speed, the movement of the pipeline also should be of concern to me, in the sense that if only 2 proposals are sent out of 50 initial leads, it means that the time to revenue is very slow and it's very dangerous for a founder. And what am I going to recommend? So I think the first thing I'll do is to review the meeting scripts. I'm going to review the meeting script. And what do I mean by that is I'm going to audit and go through, edit and scan through the discovery process. Know whether the meetings are focused on solving the client's problem or just presenting information. And the second recommendation is refine prospecting criteria. I'm going to, let's say, out of 50 leads, the 30 that were not qualified, we're going to go through the 30 leads and we ask ourselves if the 30 that are not qualified were they disqualified for the right reasons. Let's say the right reasons like budget, authority, need timing. We need to look through those reasons if they are the right reasons for disqualification. And if they are disqualified for the right reasons, then we also need to shape in the research phase to save them. What do I mean is that we need to reshape, we need to reconsider the research criteria, the leads generation criteria to save time and effort. And another thing I recommend is the follow-up cadence, the follow-up efforts. We need to implement a more rigorous follow-up system for the stalled opportunity to either move it forward or close it out. So what should happen next? The next question. The next thing that should happen, from this sales pipeline should be immediate audit. We need to review the notes for the 6 meetings that did not lead to a proposal, find out why did they stall, and also work on the reasons they were stalled. And also proposal optimization. Ensure, or we should make sure that the 2 proposals that were already sent are highly personalized and they kind of align with the specific pain points identified in those meetings. Then I think the last and should I say the most important thing I would suggest happiness is the short-term sprints, short-term sprints. So let me explain that in my own language. I think we should focus on converting the existing qualified prospects to meetings. Since they are already qualified prospects that we have, we should focus on converting it to meeting rather than just searching for more leads until the conversion rates improve. That means we should focus on converting what the leads we've generated, the prospects, we should focus on converting them to meetings until the conversion rate improves before we extend and revisit our research criteria and also extend our lead that we generated. I think that's all.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Praise and Dorcas.
Good evening, ma'am.
Mm,
So for me, hello, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah, please, ma'am.
All right, now for me, the result, the dashboard is clear enough. What should the founder know? The founder should know that there has been a 50 initially. The founder can see the dashboard is 20 qualified prospects, 8 meetings booked, 4 active opportunities, 2 proposals sent, and 1 stored opportunity. So the founder is seeing all of this and was knows about it. So what concerns me, I will look at it from the 20 qualified prospects because that's a decline and it's a concern to me. If I had 50 leads initially and from the dashboard, the result there is down, it's going down. So it's a concern to me. I need to look at it. Why 20 qualified prospects from that and 8 meetings booked? Why should everything go down? What is happening? I need to check out what happened from the 50 leads and what should I recommend. Now, me recommending the concern there is what will give me my recommendation. Once I'm able to see the decline, I'm able to know what I will recommend. What happened? Was it that I was, or will I say, for me, I will recommend that I'll talk to my clients directly possible. Was it a message problem? Probably the way I message the text message or the phone call or whatever I did was not properly done. So it's from the concern that we bring about my recommendation. I'll check at that and what happens next. The next thing that happens is that I'll need to follow up. Follow up in the sense that in the next time, my 20 qualified prospects, was it that my outreach wasn't good enough for me to have 20 out of 50 leads? So I need to follow up in that area. Follow up that as well for me to have had 8 meetings booked out of 20 qualified prospects. So from everything, the next thing I need to do, I need to follow up and I need to check out why I had this third opportunity, one third opportunity, and what I can do to reverse it. If I had 2 proposals sent, then I should be able to, I should be able to push out the opportunities that I have there, at least to maintain that. If I cannot have the 4 active opportunities, at least the 2 proposals sent, I should be able to maintain it. I think that's what I can.
Thank you. Praise.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so from the charts here, you can see plunge down. We have 50 research leads, 20 qualified prospects. So what I'm seeing here is, I think there's a mistake in the methodology of the research, and we researched 50 leads, but 20 are qualified. So is it that we didn't research very well, or there's a way we should research and then find 50 out of 50 leads? That is one thing I observed. And then I also feel that maybe the reason why they are not responding is probably how the message are being crafted, because every prospect has a way, like a way you should write craft a message for a person. Everybody's specific. So from the first question, it says, what should the founder know? So you just let the founder know what you are doing. You show this for your founder, the chat, try to explain to the founder what you are doing, the process you are going through, where you are at the present moment. And then second one says, what concerns you about this pipeline? So what I'm concerned about this pipeline is how bad it looks like. At least I should, out of 50, I should get like 25 at least qualified leads. And then meeting booked. Why is there a drop in the qualified lead to 8 meeting booked? And then what made it drop again to half of it, like 4? So I'll look at it, and then what will you recommend? So I'll recommend that I follow up with the leads, try to know why some want to progress and why some don't want to progress with the opportunity. I try to like tell them.
Mhm. Good. Good. Okay, thank you everyone. Is there anyone on this call that has not given
So
first Lucas, Taylor, Mecca, Deborah, Christina, Matthew, Oluchi, Onye. Yeah. So everybody on the call has shared their own opinion. And you all did well. Okay. So the very first thing I was going to say is this. When you have a dashboard like this and you want to discuss the insights with the founder, you don't start with what should the founder know. That's the very first thing I was going to say for everyone. You don't start with what the founder should know because you want to, first of all, gather your insights before you present them. I know the question started from what should the founder know, but don't start with that. You start with the concerns to the recommendation to your next step, and you take that information to the founder. You will discover that this, I know Rosemary has a question, but just give me a minute. You will discover that when you go to question 2, even though the dashboard seems to be transparent and informative, it really doesn't capture enough essence or insights that even if you say the founder has visibility to this dashboard, might not tell the full story. That's why for those who are in data, they will always tell you that the number is not the story. You have the number to tell the story. So that's one thing that you need to know. So now, from the concerns, apart from Justina and Oluchi and Emeka, yes, that talked about the lead source. Majority of you didn't think that was a problem. Yes, you talked about how the ICP might be the problem. Maybe you didn't get the ICP right, or maybe you need to you need to really review or audit. I think Emeka used that word, audit your lead, but you also need to look into the lead source. Don't just say, oh, because Miss Florence has taught us that she find the lead from LinkedIn. Don't just conclude that the entire 50 leads came from LinkedIn. Yes, you did the research, right? You researched it. Maybe you got the 50 from LinkedIn, maybe you didn't get the from LinkedIn. You need to start the conversation from ellipsis. Onye also mentioned this, that um an opportunity is not closed until it's validated by payments. That is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely important. Doesn't matter if the proposal was sent, I didn't put a account closed. So which means everything that happened in this process, there was none that generated money. None generated money. So the founder would definitely be more interested in, okay, you researched 50 leads. Why is there none closed yet? So now, concerns about the pipeline, there's just a lot going on. So we start from the lead source. You talked about detail tracker, that's okay. Talked about detail tracker. This is not giving us all the information that we need. This is just a dashboard that is presenting a collective insights from the detailed information that we need to go back to. So this dashboard does not give us the story. We would need to go back to our tracker to check where the lead sources, to check what are the gaps, to check if we have, like for instance, the research leads. There are some research leads that you probably couldn't even get the decision maker. Is it that we couldn't get the decision maker? Or is it that we couldn't get their contact information? Or what exactly is it? Is it that is it the industry? This is where you do more of a lead research that allows you to begin to connect dots. So you're now mapping out, okay, we have 10 out of this 50 in professional services. We have 5 in tech. We have 3 public sector. We have this. So you look into the industry. You know, during the lead research, we talked about different categories from demographics to firmographics to psychographics and the behavioral. So you start looking at it. Okay, this industry now, in this organization, this professional industry, out of this 10 or out of these 20 people, 20 organizations, 5 of them, their revenue budgets or their revenue bracket is 500 million to 1 million. 10 was around 1 million to 10 million. 200 to 500. 1, 0 to 100. Okay, out of all these professional services, that is just one industry. This is how you do business analytics. One industry. You then look into what was the buying signals that made us to contact them. Okay, out of the buying signals, they mentioned this. The CEO talked explicitly about how they would like to improve on their technology services. Okay, they did this. These were the buying signals. You then use that to map out all the signals, the intent signals that made the difference between your qualified prospect to the research process. I know all of you were concerned about why is there a huge drop between the research leads and the qualified prospect. The very first thing I would like to tell you is that it's normal. It's normal. That is why I said this earlier, that you need to understand your conversion rate. That doesn't mean you should not audit your process to improve on it, because that's the best way. But you understanding your conversion rate will help you figure out where the leakage is coming from. So now, auditing that process is highly important. You are auditing the process by looking into your detailed tracker, not this dashboard, into your detailed tracker or CRM to see what was the intent that led to it being qualified. The intent is then validated by the meeting board. So you then begin to map it, because if you then want to broaden, you want to give recommendations to the founder, right? You want to give, well, so when you want to give recommendations, you're able to tell the founder that based on my research, that is what is called research. Based on my research, I can see that it will be better for us to either create a new offering that can target 500 to 1 million based on their purchasing power because of this, and this. That is one. Then now, we will now come to, okay, we understood that, I think it's Oluchi that said this, KPI is very important. You need to have KPIs. Even if your founder did not give you KPI, give yourself KPI. And give yourself way above a KPI that you can actually meet, because that will then push you to do better. So now, if you say our KPI was for us to have 5 closed accounts, 5 closed accounts means that we need to send possibly about 20% higher than that for proposal. So maybe that would be probably around 5% or 20% higher. Actually, that's even not 20% higher. You need to send 50% higher. So that would be 5, that would be 10. So at least you need to send 10 proposal to be able to get 5 closed, because you've already gotten to the end of the buying cycle, the sales cycle. Then 10, okay, for that 10 proposal, that means we'll need to have interest that has been confirmed after the booking meeting of almost about 100% of that. So you see that it's 100% that we have. 2 to 4. That's about 50%, right? And that 2 to 4 is coming down to 1, minus 1 again. So 100% of that is what? 10 times 4. Am I doing the maths correctly? If you're a mathematician, come and help me here. Come on, calculator. So 100% of 10 proposals higher is going to be what? Okay, yeah, 20%. So 100% increase is 20%, 50% increase is 15, and 200 is 30%. Okay, so that is 100% will be 20, that's times 2, not times 4. That's times 2. So that means we need to go up to having at least 20 opportunities in the pipeline. So now 20 opportunities has to also increase in the times of the number of meetings booked to another 100%. So that is 40 meetings booked, so I was correct earlier, 40 meetings in the pipeline, 20 should be able to show interest out of that, and that will keep going, increasing. So for these 50 leads to 20 prospects, I'm not really surprised about that, but coming down, the decline actually still seems reasonable, but it could be improved on. So now that is 1. 2, the stalled opportunity. You all have all said that, and I think if everyone took cognizance of what everybody else was saying, there's a word that keeps coming back: follow. And the follow-up starts from the first process. It starts from your lead research. Out of this lead research, you only had 20 that were qualified. You need to go back to check why, right? Out of this 20, only 8. You can do more with this 20. These 20 were qualified because they fit into your ICP, they fit into your offering. So I think Emeka mentioned that. They fit into your ICP, they fit into your offering. So which means you can still go back to dig more from this. You can go back to reactivate this. You do more research to understand the ICP, to understand their pain points. Maybe you need to reframe the problem. Maybe you need to restructure the offering. Well, you can do more with this. The 8 booked, that is initial call 8 booked. At this point, either you're the one handling the call or you're not the one handling the call, you need to figure out what's going on. You need to figure out how was the call, which is why most of the fund say you should record your calls, right? You should record your calls so that way they can know how the process is going or not. Go back to your calls, listen to it. At what point did the drop start from? You will know. At what, maybe you said something you're not supposed to say. Maybe you were too friendly when you're not supposed to be too friendly. Maybe you were too smiley. Maybe you said a word. Maybe you were insensitive of something. You will figure it out because that will then serve as a learning process to you to rectify the problem and improve. And you see this stored opportunity. This is where your nurturing strategy comes in. This person has shown interest, has committed to the process, then we need to do more follow-up, yes. But you need to nurture that relationship more to figure out why. So you all have said a lot, and I believe that everyone has learned from one another and individualized ICP, despite understanding that you have the general ICP, is very much important for you to work with. In relationship is personal, and you need to be able to deal with that process. Again, sales is a helping game. It's not a selling game, it's a helping game. So if you have that mentality, you then be able to figure out how can I help this person achieve their goals. Then we will see that, oh, this person wants to help me achieve my goal. And then they can be more relaxed and less resistant towards you selling, even though at the end of the day, you're selling. So that's what I'm going to say. So after you figure out the consign, you're able to then take your consigns and note out what's the best recommendation to improve based on all this insight. And you definitely, obviously, you know what will happen is you didn't take this information and form back to, I'm giving you people the beautiful and simplest framework you can ever work with. This is the process. This is what happened. This is what we have in the pipeline. This is what is currently happening. These are the meetings that we're currently having on the ground. These are the owners. These are who are owned, who is accountable for it. This is what we found that are the risk, the issues, the concerns that we've said. You can be able to even give better recommendations and say, oh, maybe we need a different structure, an offer structure for this product. We have lights, we have premium, or we're able to reduce scope at certain time to close this clients. You'll be able to give insights, you'll be able to give recommendations. And that way the founder is able to say, okay, what next can I do with this information that you have given to me? And you'll be able to say, based on all this information, I think this would be the most appropriate next step for us, for the company, if you approve. I hope with this few point of mine have been able to convince you and not to confuse you that VSA is interested. Okay, so there were some other things that were said that I think some notions that I needed to correct. Oh my God, what did I correct it? Let's need source here. Mm. Sorry, just give me a few minutes of this. I need to correct those emissions. Oh yeah, the meeting didn't go well. Okay, no, it's not here. I still did not. Okay, so I think I just wrote too much information from you, or I can't even find it now. And honestly, I like your SWOT analysis. I like the fact that you're starting with what you are used to, then applying it to, yes, I found one, applying it to what we are currently learning. So, and I think you said this, Oluchi, you said don't keep problems, you said don't show much of the problems to the founder. So one thing I'm going to correct is you don't keep problems away from the founder. You need to find a way to tell them. You need to during the project management class, PDL that we had, we talked about how you can discuss risk before it turns into issue. So that's the strategy you're going to. You don't want to keep problems away from the founder, because even if they are not aware at that time, they will still get to know. And the time they get to know, I hope is not too late, because it could be more fatal than you thought it was. So don't hide problems away from the founder, but don't present problems without solution. So that was what I was going to correct. Don't keep problems away from the founder, but don't present problems without solution. Don't present issues without solution, without an escalation path, or without a possible solution, or at least let them know that you have recorded, because one of your strengths is recognizing issues, recognizing risks, recognizing problems, and profiling solution to them. So when you profile solution, it actually increases your value, because then they see you as solution driven rather than just problem picking. Then I think there was one more. I think it was Emeka that said that. Unfortunately, I can't find it. But if I find it, I'll definitely send a message on the platforms. But you guys did absolutely well. I know as we kept going, you're like, okay, let me not try to repeat what was being said, but this is still my insight. But that was amazing. I'm happy that I allowed everyone to give their insight on this. I know our time is fast spent, but we're done with today's class, but on Wednesday, I did mention that we have a client opportunity, and I also sent an email about it this morning. So we have a client opportunity to talk about. So what I'll do is, on this slide is in your resource center, so please do well to review it. The client offerings is in the resource center, is in week 4. I created a tracker for you all. You are going to use just one tracker, so nobody should edit that. Nobody should make a copy of that tracker. We are all going to work on that tracker. So we are all going to learn how to work on one tracker that is visible to a team. So right now we are all going to operate as a team. So I'm going to run us through the opportunity quickly and how you would want to take part of it. So how you would take part of it actually. So the name of the organization is called Sikora. So you all can search Sikora. It's Sikora Consulting, I believe so. Sikora Consulting. It's in Minnesota. Yeah. Yeah, SikoraConsulting.com. Let me copy out the link so that you can also do more research about the company. I have their service offering on the resource center. It's about 8. They have about 8 service offering. So which means that we would need to map out ICP for each of that service offering. So let me see. I'm only going to work with those on the call today, on the call right now. Except you want to signal out, is free, is you're fine to signal out. So this is a real client problem. And his problem is he needs more revenue. You see, you see that it will not come and tell me that, Florence, so I need there is no lead in my pipeline. There is no updates to say. It will not come and say, oh, I need someone to look at my CRM. Oh, I need some. All he said is I need revenue. I need conversations in July. So we are very time crunched, which is why I still want to talk about it today. I want to say that maybe we'll talk about it on Monday. Or he said, I need pipeline. Most of the conversations are booked for July have been moved upward because of the holidays and stuff. So I need to have, I don't have anything in my July calendar right now. So I need to book meetings in July. I need revenue for the months of July and August. So we need to work on that and close up this clients. So that is one. So you can go to Sakura. I think did I put the someone dropped off. I'm trying to see who dropped off. Okay, I think that's fine. Okay, I already put the company on the chat. So the company is SakuraConsulting.com. It's a business consulting. We're actually in the same industry, but I'm not very similar industry. Let me use that word. Very similar industry, but not the same industry. I focus more on founder-led businesses and focus on founder dependencies and capacity, while Sakura focuses on leadership development and end-to-end business consulting services. I work with him, not really work with him, facilitates. He wants me to come and work with him. Let me use that word. Let me just look this, and I don't have time. So, but I told him that if you have concerns about revenue, I have my VSS trainees that are currently training them, and they can work with you. You see what to do, and we can talk about next steps. And that's one of the reasons because it's like a low ball entry because he wants me and not have time. So let me see if it is a way it can work directly with my company without that issue of this is the person I want to work with. So that's full context, full transparency.